In this lesson, we're going to continue unwrapping the weapon. Alright, so we're on the home stretch here, just about finished with unwrapping. Let's go ahead and work on the crane here. Let's add our unwrap UVW modifier to that. We'll open up the UV editor, bring that over so we can see that. And then I'm just going to pan over so we can see the model here. And what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and select all the UVs on this object and just go to mapping, flatten mapping, and hit OK. Turn off your background there so we can see that. Now it's important to take a look at this because remember we have this set into different smoothing groups, and so just because we do a flatten mapping and it looks great, and even with the material on it, we've got to make sure that we have this right. Okay, and so with this one, let's go ahead and select by smoothing group 1. You can see here that this one's fine, but then we have these pieces here that are attached to a cluster, and these pieces are on a different smoothing group. That's going to be a problem. So to take care of this, let's simply take those clusters, those UVs, and right-click and break those off. Same thing here. Those must have a seam, okay, on the different UVs. Let's do the same thing here. Let's go ahead and select by UV again. That's UV1. Let's do UV2. Okay, and again, select just these. So select these two, break, move that away. Let's try it one more time. Let's select that. Select this one, right-click, break. Okay, and I believe it was just this one, but let's make sure. Yeah, let's hit Control-Z a couple times there really quickly. And let's select. Okay, and it is just that one, so right-click and break. So move those away from one another. Okay. And they do have to be separated because they are on different smoothing groups. Okay. So those borders. All right, so let's go ahead and select by smoothing group. Everything looks good there. Let's go to smoothing group 3. Okay, everything looks good there. We just need this one broken. And then select that by smoothing group 3 again. That looks good. And then smoothing group 4. So that one. Check 5 just in case. There we go. So like this one here, right-click, break. Select this one, right-click, break. All right. So just pull these away from one another. They need to have a little bit of space between one another, some padding, so that way we don't get errors on the normal maps. Let's go to smoothing group 6 and let's just check just in case. And smoothing group 7. Okay, that looks fine. All right, so all of that is broken apart. All right, so now that we have that separated out by smoothing groups, let's just do a quick check and make sure that everything is fine with this. So I'm going to actually isolate this, and I'm going to turn off unwrap. I'm going to deselect that. So we want to make sure that this polygon is split apart. It's split apart from this one. All of these are on their own smoothing group. We know that. Let's take a look at these polygons here. All of these right here can be on a separate smoothing group. Okay, because look how smooth they are there. So let's go into, let's go to face mode. Just want to check that because I see an extra seam right in here. These all should be together right in here. Open that UV editor. Okay, and let's go to edge mode right here and let's just stitch that together. So again, just looking at that, those should all be on one smoothing group. Deselect away from that. That looks good. This one, this set is on its own smoothing group. This one, okay. All right, so I think we've got it all broken apart the way it should be. Yep, we're looking good. So anytime that you see like these really hard edges, if you select it with the unwrapped on, you should see a seam, a green line across that. Okay, so anytime that you see something like that, check your seams. Notice how smooth this looks right in here. There are no seams except for on the outside edges. All right, great. Now we've got that. Let's go ahead and turn off vertex mode. Let's back up and let's move on to the trigger. Now the trigger, if we select it, it should be all on one smoothing group. So we don't have to worry about the UV seams being in a very specific place. Okay, so let's go ahead and just add the unwrap UVW modifier to that. And actually, I think I could be wrong. Do I have, let's select that and then isolate it. Yeah, see how smooth it looks? We've got some shading and things like that here and there, but it's all on the same smoothing group. Okay, because we have these supporting edges right here. So because it's on the same smoothing group, we don't have to worry about those. So let's open up the UV editor, pull that out, and I'm going to turn off that background there. Let's select everything on that and just go to mapping, flatten mapping, and OK. So there's our trigger. Most of the pieces are intact. And we'll just come in and we'll just start stitching some of these pieces together. Okay, just making sure. And let's go to this one, stitch that. Stitch that one here. And I'm just looking at these edges and just seeing what I can stitch together. I don't want to make these too long with one another, so yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll just stitch that. Stitch that one, and then one final one. Yeah, we'll just stitch all of it together, no problem. All right, now with all of those set there, let's go ahead and pack that into space there. And there we go. Just to stay consistent so we know exactly what is what's been UV'd and what looks good, we'll just apply that material to it. Okay, turn off your unwrap, and there we go. All right, so now we're going to move on to our last two pieces, the hammer and then the key lock, and we'll get finished up with the UVing in our next lesson.